Welcome back to Today we will learn about the explosive developments that are about to rock Salem as the week of August 18th to 22nd unfolds with devastating consequences that will leave viewers absolutely stunned. The moment of truth. Rachel Black's shocking arrest finally arrives. Brace yourselves, DOL fans, because the moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. The latest trailer for the upcoming week has dropped the ultimate bombshell. Rachel Black will finally be arrested for the shocking shooting that has kept Salem on edge for months. This isn't just any ordinary arrest storyline, dear viewers. This is the culmination of a twisted web of lies, family loyalty, and devastating secrets that have been building to this explosive climax. The arrest of young Rachel represents a seismic shift in the entire narrative that has consumed the DiMera family for what feels like an eternity. Every single character involved in this storyline will face consequences that will reverberate through Salem's most powerful families. The emotional devastation that this revelation will bring cannot be overstated, and the ripple effects will be felt across multiple storylines for weeks to come. Kristen DiMera's last stand. A mother's desperate final gambit. In what can only be described as the performance of her lifetime, Kristen DiMera finds herself in court this week, orchestrating what appears to be her final, desperate attempt to shield her beloved daughter from the devastating truth. This courtroom drama will showcase Stacey Hayduke's incredible acting range as Kristen faces the impossible choice between justice and maternal protection. The intensity of Kristen's desperation reaches unprecedented levels as she realizes that all her carefully constructed lies and manipulations are crumbling around her like a house of cards. Every scheme she has devised, every manipulation she has orchestrated, and every lie she has told has led to this singular moment where her daughter's future hangs in the balance. The emotional weight of this storyline will leave viewers questioning the very nature of parental love and the lengths a mother will go to protect her child. Kristen's courtroom breakdown promises to be one of the most emotionally charged scenes in recent DOL history, as she faces the harsh reality that her efforts to protect Rachel may have only made things infinitely worse. The psychological toll of maintaining this elaborate cover-up has pushed Kristen to her absolute breaking point, and viewers will witness the complete unraveling of one of Salem's most formidable women. Belle Black's explosive confrontation. Family loyalties tested to the breaking point. The tension between Belle Black and EJ DiMera reaches a boiling point this week, as Belle unleashes her fury on the man who has turned their family upside down. Martha Madison delivers what promises to be a powerhouse performance, as Belle channels every ounce of her anger and frustration into a confrontation that will leave EJ reeling from the brutal honesty of her words. Belle's complaints to her stepmother Marlena Evans about EJ's increasingly erratic behavior reveal the deep fractures that have formed within the Brady Black family unit. The psychological pressure of this entire ordeal has pushed EJ beyond his normal limits of control and manipulation, leading to behavior that even his closest allies find disturbing and unacceptable. This confrontation represents more than just a family disagreement. It symbolizes the complete breakdown of trust and respect that once existed between these two legal minds. Belle's professional disappointment in EJ's handling of the case is matched only by her personal disgust at the methods he has employed to achieve his goals. Johnny DiMera's defiant stand. Son against father in ultimate power struggle. The father-son dynamic between Johnny and EJ reaches its most explosive point yet as Johnny makes the unprecedented decision to fire his own father from the case. Carson Boatman brings incredible depth to Johnny's character as he navigates the impossible situation of standing up to the most powerful man in his life while facing potential imprisonment. Johnny's declaration that he has removed EJ from his defense team represents a seismic shift in the DiMera family power structure. This isn't just about legal representation. It's about Johnny finally asserting his independence and refusing to allow his father's controversial methods to define his fate. The courage it takes for Johnny to take this stand cannot be underestimated, especially given EJ's history of ruthlessly dealing with those who oppose him. The spoilers hint at Johnny having his own final words this week, suggesting that his confrontation with EJ will include declarations that will permanently alter their relationship. The emotional weight of this father-son conflict adds another layer of complexity to an already intricate storyline that has viewers invested in multiple character arcs simultaneously. EJ DiMera's emotional breakdown, a villain's moment of vulnerable truth. In perhaps the most surprising development of the week, EJ DiMera will engage in an intensely emotional conversation with Marlena Evans that reveals a side of the DiMera patriarch that viewers rarely witness. Dan Feuerriegel's portrayal of EJ's vulnerability promises to showcase the actor's incredible range as he explores the psychological impact of the lives he has destroyed in his quest for power and control. This conversation with Marlena represents a potential turning point for EJ's character, as he confronts the reality of the damage his actions have caused to everyone around him. The emotional weight of seeing the lives he has changed, the families he has torn apart, and the consequences of his manipulative behavior finally catches up with him in a moment of rare self-reflection. The timing of this emotional revelation is particularly significant, as it occurs just as the truth about the real shooter is about to be exposed. EJ's psychological preparation for facing a flood of suppressed memories suggests that his own trauma from that night has been more extensive than previously revealed. The memory flood. Rachel's suppressed trauma surfaces with devastating consequences. The most heartbreaking aspect of this entire storyline revolves around young Rachel's suppressed memories of that fateful night. Alice Halsey's portrayal of Rachel's psychological struggle to remember what happened showcases the devastating impact that trauma can have on a child's psyche, creating one of the most emotionally complex storylines in DOOL history. The revelation that Rachel has blocked out the memory of shooting EJ adds layers of psychological complexity that elevate the storyline beyond typical soap opera drama. The trauma-induced amnesia that has protected Rachel from the devastating truth of her actions is about to crumble, potentially destroying her innocent worldview forever. As Marlena stays with Rachel at the DiMera mansion during the jury deliberations, the psychological pressure of the situation may finally crack the barriers that have protected Rachel's mind from the traumatic memories. The potential for Rachel to experience a sudden flood of memories creates both the possibility for justice and the tragedy of a child being forced to confront the most devastating moment of her young life. The false confession gambit. Kristen's ultimate sacrifice for maternal love. In the most shocking twist of all, spoilers suggest that Kristen may be prepared to make a false confession to protect Rachel from the consequences of her actions. This potential sacrifice represents the ultimate expression of maternal love, as Kristen contemplates returning to prison to spare her daughter from a lifetime of guilt and trauma. The psychological complexity of Kristen's decision to potentially confess to a crime she didn't commit adds another layer of moral ambiguity to this already intricate storyline. Her willingness to sacrifice her own freedom to preserve Rachel's innocence demonstrates the lengths that a mother's love can drive someone to, even when that person has a history of selfishness and manipulation. However, the spoilers also hint that Kristen's false confession may not last long, as the truth has a way of surfacing despite even the most elaborate attempts to bury it. The temporary nature of this deception suggests that Rachel will ultimately be forced to confront the reality of what she did, making Kristen's sacrifice potentially meaningless in the long run. The upcoming week promises to deliver some of the most emotionally devastating and psychologically complex storylines in Days of Our Lives history, with consequences that will reverberate through Salem for months to come. Next, Days of Our Lives comes and goes. Return and guest destinations. Welcome back to the Days of Our Lives channel, where the excitement in Salem never seems to slow down. The week of August 18th to 22nd, 2025, will be one filled with familiar faces, dramatic courtroom showdowns, and emotional family encounters that promise to keep longtime viewers glued to their screens. Whether it's the return of beloved characters, the presence of veteran actors, or the reappearance of guest stars who add texture to the story, there is plenty to look forward to this week. Let us walk through the casting highlights day by day and explore what each return and guest appearance might mean for the ongoing stories in Salem. Monday, August 18th. Tony DiMera takes center stage. We begin the week with the return of a name that holds great significance in Salem's history. Tony DiMera, played by the immensely talented Theo Penglis. Tony has always been a complicated figure, a man who carries the DiMera name but often chooses a more measured, thoughtful path than some of his ruthless family members. On Monday, Tony will be seen sharing emotional scenes with his brother EJ DiMera, portrayed by Dan Feuerriegel. Their sibling dynamic has always been one of the more fascinating aspects of the DiMera legacy. While EJ is known for his sharp mind and at times dangerous ambitions, Tony has frequently positioned himself as a voice of reason. This upcoming interaction between the brothers may not be a mere family catch-up. Viewers can expect heartfelt exchanges, possible disagreements over family loyalty, and reflections on the DiMera empire's uncertain future. With so many legal battles, business conflicts, and personal rivalries swirling around Salem, it is no surprise that the DiMera brothers find themselves once again confronting the weight of their family legacy. For longtime fans, the chance to see Theo Penglis back in action is a true gift, as his performances are always layered with elegance and intensity. Tuesday, August 19th. A bookstore, a judge, and Rachel's return. Tuesday brings not one, but three significant developments to Salem's storyline. First, we will meet Foster, the new bookstore owner in town, played by Miles Anderson. While at first glance a bookstore might seem like a quiet addition to Salem, longtime fans know that no new character ever arrives without a reason. Foster's interactions with Julie Williams, portrayed by the legendary Susan Seaforth Hayes, may open doors to new friendships, hidden secrets, or even clues that tie into Salem's larger mysteries. Julie has always been a pillar of warmth and wisdom in the community, and her curiosity about new arrivals often uncovers more than meets the eye. Could Foster's bookstore be a peaceful gathering place, or a front for something far more complicated? Second, we welcome back Carol Foreman as Judge Dabney, a figure who has become increasingly important in Salem's courtrooms. Judge Dabney will preside over part of Johnny DiMera's trial, a storyline that has left viewers anxious about its outcome. Judges in Salem carry great weight, as their decisions often change the course of family destinies, marriages, and even lives. Seeing Judge Dabney back on the bench adds gravitas to the trial, and her calm but firm presence will surely bring tension and authority to the unfolding case. Finally, Tuesday also marks the return of Alice Halsey as Rachel Black. Rachel's reappearance is especially poignant, as her connections to both her mother Kristen and her wider family ensure that her every move is significant. On this day, Rachel will share scenes with Dr. Marlena Evans, played by the incomparable Deidre Hall, and others. Marlena's history as a guiding light for troubled souls suggests that Rachel may find herself in need of comfort, wisdom, or perhaps even intervention. Thursday, August 21st, Rachel and Adam step into the spotlight. Thursday continues Rachel Black's return, giving viewers more time to reconnect with this young character whose life has been shaped by the storms of her family's past. Rachel's interactions with Salem's residents often stir up emotions, as she embodies the next generation of a family whose name is both respected and feared. Alongside Rachel's storyline, Thursday also sees the reappearance of Timothy Horner as Adam, who serves as Leo Stark's jury room mate. Leo, played with wit and energy by Greg Ricart, has been a delightfully unpredictable presence in Salem. With Adam joining the jury deliberations in Johnny DiMera's case, viewers will see how personalities clash or connect when confined to the tense environment of a jury room. Adam's presence adds a layer of realism to the trial, reminding audiences that justice in Salem often depends not only on lawyers and judges, but also on the people who weigh the evidence. Friday, August 22nd, Judge Dabney returns. As the week draws to a close, Judge Dabney steps back into the spotlight to preside once again over Johnny's trial. By Friday, emotions in the courtroom are sure to be running high. Families will be divided, secrets will be at risk of exposure, and Salem's sense of justice will hang in the balance. Judge Dabney's presence reminds us that while Salem thrives on drama, the law ultimately decides the fate of many characters. The decisions she makes, or even the way she manages the courtroom, could shape not just Johnny's future but also ripple out into the lives of the DiMeras, the Blacks, the Bradys, and beyond. In true Days of Our Lives fashion, fans should brace themselves for cliffhangers that will leave them eagerly awaiting the next week's revelations. Final thoughts. The week of August 18th to 22nd, 2025 is shaping up to be a classic example of what makes Days of Our Lives such a beloved part of daytime television. It blends the return of legendary characters, the arrival of intriguing new faces, and the continuation of dramatic trials that keep viewers invested in Salem's never-ending saga.